You're never going to become fluent in English if you keep making this mistake. You need to stop translating in your head from your own language into English. Instead, you need to start thinking directly in English. In today's video, I want to talk to you about why this happens, why it's a bad idea to translate from your own language into English, and how you can start thinking directly in English. Before we begin, let's discuss why this is actually a problem. Why shouldn't you translate from your own language into English? Think about this. If you're like most students, you've probably translated before. You have an idea that you want to express, and you translate that idea into English. You then search for the correct grammar, the right vocabulary, and maybe even think about pronunciation. Finally, you say it out loud in English. But what happens is that it slows you down. It's an unnecessary step that makes the process of speaking English more difficult. You don't want that. Ideally, you should be able to speak naturally without thinking about the mechanics of the language. Removing that extra step is essential because it's not a natural way of speaking. In your native language, you don't think about grammar or translation when you speak. So why should it be any different in English? Additionally, grammar in certain languages can be very different from English grammar. Some words in other languages don't even have a direct translation into English. This can cause further confusion and slow you down, and in some cases, it may not be possible to accurately translate from your own language into English. Therefore, translation is not always the solution, and in many cases, it can lead to incorrect usage. The key is to stop translating and start thinking directly in English without worrying about the mechanics of the language. Now, let's talk about how you can do this. How can you make speaking English feel natural, comfortable, and automatic? In English, we have an expression, fake it till you make it. This means pretending to do something until you eventually succeed by doing it repeatedly. In this context, I want you to fake being a native English speaker. The reason your native language feels so natural to you is because your entire environment growing up was in that language. However, when you learn a second or third language, such as English, the environment changes. Your parents, friends, and daily life might not involve English, which makes the process more challenging. When I say fake it till you make it, I mean pretend that you are a native English speaker. Live your life the way a native English speaker would. Surround yourself with English. For example, think about what a native English speaker would do when they wake up in the morning. They would turn on their phone, and their phone would be in English. So, you should change your phone settings to English. They might watch YouTube while brushing their teeth, and that content would be in English. They might listen to the radio while preparing breakfast, and the radio would be in English. Everything in their life would be in English because it's their native language. Being constantly exposed to the language makes it natural for them, and that's what you want to achieve. The key to becoming fluent in a language is to immerse yourself in it and make it a part of your daily life. If you don't do this, English will always feel like a school subject, something you study but don't truly live. By faking being a native speaker and doing the things a native speaker would do, you can reach the same level of comfort with the language. It's not rocket science. The more you surround yourself with the language, the more fluent you will become. Many students focus too much on textbooks, grammar rules, and conjugation tables. This is partly due to the way languages are taught in schools, which tends to be very academic. In school, you may have learned English for 1 hour a day, focusing on exercises and textbooks. But once the class was over, you switched back to your native language. That method of compartmentalizing English won't help you become fluent because it doesn't integrate the language into your life. If you're serious about becoming fluent, You need to let English consume you. Allow it to be part of as much of your life as possible. Of course, some things can only be done in your native language, but the goal is to pretend you are a native speaker and live your life that way. Let's say you enjoy cooking. A student came to me recently, and she loved cooking and reading recipes. I asked her what language she read the recipes in, and she told me she read them in her native language. I suggested a simple change. Read those recipes in English. By doing something she loves and simultaneously improving her English, she was able to make better use of her time. In English, we say kill two birds with one stone, meaning you accomplish two things at once with less effort. It's not about finding extra time. It's about using the time you already have more effectively. Maybe you read the news on your phone during your commute. Start reading the news in English instead of your native language. If you like listening to podcasts, choose English podcasts. If you make a to-do list or write in a calendar, do it in English. Once you integrate English into your daily life, you will start to feel more comfortable speaking it. Of course, surrounding yourself with English is important, but you also need to practice speaking. If you don't have anyone to speak with, you can speak with yourself or find people online. There are many resources and platforms that allow you to connect with others for conversation practice. One such platform is the English at the Ready Club, which offers opportunities to meet people, attend live classes, and study English every week. The key to fluency is consistent speaking practice and surrounding yourself with the language. Don't expect to see results in a week or two. It takes time, months of consistent effort, but eventually, speaking English will feel natural. You'll no longer have to think about language mechanics, and you'll be able to express your ideas without hesitation. Fluency isn't about perfection. It doesn't mean you can conjugate verbs in all 12 tenses instantly. In fact, many native speakers can't even do that. Fluency simply means being able to express your ideas and communicate your thoughts without language slowing you down. To give you an analogy, think about when you have a cold and your nose is stuffed. All you can think about is how hard it is to breathe. But 99% of the time, when your nose is clear, you don't even think about breathing. It just happens naturally. Translating from your own language into English is like having a stuffed nose. It creates a barrier between you and the language. When you stop translating and start thinking directly in English, the language will flow naturally, and you won't even have to think about it. So, here's what I want you to do. Sit down for 10 to 15 minutes and create a plan. Make a list of things in your life that you can change into English. Whether it's reading recipes, writing to-do lists, or changing the settings on your phone, find ways to replace the things you already do in your native language with English. Remember, fake it till you make it. Pretend you're a native speaker, do it consistently, and you'll be surprised at how much progress you can make. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please leave a like and let me know in the comments what changes you're going to make to incorporate English into your life. Don't forget to subscribe to English Flow so you won't miss any future lessons and videos. If you are interested in learning more about how I can help you improve your English this year, click the link in the description below. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.